Pleasure actually to introduce Estelle Nicol, who's next up on the programme to reply on behalf of the lassies, and she is, I believe, more than capable of actually fighting a corner there, from my understanding of her. You get to talk to Estelle later on. She's done so many things, and this is not a joke or anything else, but she's not long back from the base camp at Everest, which is probably the hardest thing and the best thing and the worst thing that she's ever done in her life. So that sort of tells you a bit about the person that's coming up. But Estelle works in the bank, and I've known her for a long time, and I've always admired people that actually work in finances and work in the bank, etc. And you know, she's a specialist in terms of numbers. And when I was talking to her about it, I said, well, I've never really got my head around this, you know, just in terms of, she said, it's really quite easy, she said, because there are so many things that you can actually look at here when it comes to it. So she said, for example, she said, do you realise that 6 out of every 7 dwarfs are not happy? You knew these were coming, come on. 10 out of every 9 statistics are made up. You know, there's another one. But there's a couple that actually come up for it. She said to me before Christmas, she was looking for Christmas decorations for the family, you know, and she was on eBay and she was looking at it, and she saw, you know, Donna and Blitzen, you know, and it was on there for £50, and she said, no, that's too dear. Come on, speak up a bit, yeah? But she did say, you know, when I talked to her about it, you know, I was saying, you know, what it was like with maths and everything else. She said, no, Peter, she said, you're absolutely correct. She said, you are terrible at maths. And I said, you know, if I had £10 for every time somebody said that, I'd have £457, 27 new pence. All it remains for me to do is to ask Estelle to take the floor and reply on behalf of the lassies, please, Estelle.
While Europe's eye is fixed on mighty things, the fate of empire and the fall of kings, while quacks of state must each produce his plan, and even children lisp the rights of man. Amid this mighty fuss, just let me mention, the rights of women merit some attention. A verse from Burns' wonderful address entitled The Rights of Women. These rights are, unsurprisingly, not equal pay and opportunities, nor the right to vote, but the right to protection, decorum and adoration. How appropriate, ladies. President Andrew, friends and cronies, honoured guests, it's indeed a great pleasure to be with you this evening to reply on behalf of the lassies. Something that I have learned as you start to make your mark in the Burns scene is that you get diary dates well in advance. If you're exceptionally good, like Peter here, you get booked up a couple of years in advance. If you're good, it can be as much as a year, and if you're a jovial amateur, it can be 6 months in advance. The bad news for you, ladies and gentlemen, is I got the call yesterday. Thank you, Colin, for your kind words, witty banter, and evident restraint. Men are apt to lack imagination. If they've missed your anniversary or your birthday, you're likely to get chocolates or flowers. If you're exceptionally lucky, you might get diamonds or a Caribbean island. Look at Rabbie. He had 3 daughters named Elizabeth. Now that could be a tad confusing had they not been by 3 different women. And it's obvious that Burns' amours were many and various. Lassies, if you're named Anna, Alison, Polly, Peggy, Clarinda, Bessie, Jessie, Jeannie, Maria, or even Delia, there is a poem about you or to you. But Rabbie knew how to woo a lady. Till all the seas gan dry, my dear, and the rocks melt with the sun. And I will love thee still, my dear, while the sands of life shall run. Ladies and gentlemen, 30 words to that famous verse, and all monosyllables. But of course, we know that it was Jean Armour who found true love and happiness. And we ladies, I am sure, have all found true love with our amours. Now, gents, as you know, ladies do love to chat. In fact, we use on average 24,000 words a day. We like to interact with our beaux. Talking and communication is the heart of modern day women. We use restrooms as social lounges. We enjoy the art of conversation and the use of language. We chat in the bathroom. We speak to sales assistants, bus drivers, people in the street. And we have such important things to talk about. Harry and Meghan, our neighbour's new PVC doors, Love Island and Naked Attraction, to name but a few. So we really don't appreciate that blank look or those one-word answers. I've read somewhere that modern man speaks on average 7,000 words a day. Some of these, what, eh, why, where are my clean clothes, what's for tea? The rest is small talk. Now I understand why we don't get answers. You've used all your words up. Burns wrote to a friend, Alexander Cunningham, on the 24th of January 1798, the day before his 30th birthday. I myself can affirm, both from bachelor and wedlock experience, that love is the alpha and the omega of the man. Enjoyment, all the pleasures, all the happiness of my humble compeers flow immediately from this delicious source. It's the spark of celestial fire which lights up the wintry hut of poverty and makes the cheerless mansion warm, comfortable and gay. There is no doubt that Burns was attracted to us lassies. It could be argued that for him it was a fatal attraction, as his heart and desires were often pulled in more than one direction, and it certainly couldn't be said of him that his affairs were kept in order. However, the legacy is a remarkable canon of love poetry that spans the gamut of emotions, from the celebration of physical intimacy through uxorial joy to the pain of loss and separation, to the celebration of enduring relationship, from the joys of a romp in the hay to the dizzy heights and strains of platonic love. From the complication of divided loyalties to the lament at fate's cruel twists, Burns travelled far and wide in the realm of the heat during his brief 37 years. Now, gents, if you are trying to understand women, I have a few tips, so please listen very carefully. If a lady says fine, it's not. This is the word women use to end an argument when they know they are right and you need to shut up. Nothing means something. And be afraid, be very afraid. Go ahead. That's a dare, not permission. Or you think so means think again. Whatever is a woman's way of saying, I'll do what I want anyway. That's okay. She's thinking of revenge. That's okay with arms folded. I mean, she's already thought of the revenge and it will hurt. As we know, Burns was prolific in two things, his writing and his hook-magandie. You may well ask, what is the definition of hook-magandie? A romantic lover or a lecherous rake. He could be caring, loving and decent. He was credited with his love of poetry, but could be less than chivalrous. Of Jean Armour, he gave a guinea and a mahogany bed, and said, never claim on me as a husband. But it is no doubt that Burns had taste. He loved women, and attributed much of his inspiration to them. Indeed, he credits us lassies with his first forays into verse. He writes that the sweetest hours that e'er I spend are spent among the lassies all. Now, if Rabbie had been alive today, the child support agency would have been on his back. 13 children to 4 different wives. He'd rebuke 150% of his salary. His poems would be an internet sensation across the world. He would have been an enthusiastic tweeter. Can you imagine? At Robbie the Burns. And he'd have a nap and an authentic trademark. If he had a Facebook page, can you imagine? The selfies with Gavin Hamilton, or just checked into the Globe. Feeling blessed at Moss Gill. Drinking anything alcoholic at the Torbolton Bachelors Club. And A Fond Kiss and Then We Sever has been renamed to speed dating at the pub. Ladies, we all like a bit of romance, don't we? Burns was a romantic. And my husband has been known to be romantic once. I will never forget the Valentine's Day. He presented me with a beautiful rose in a pot. Not a bunch of roses from the filling station that would wither and die. One that would grow with me and give me years of pleasure. A truly beautiful token of his love for me. I was, for once, speechless. And in presenting it to me, he said, darling, it reminds me of you. Ladies, Can you think of anything nicer? I imagined sensuous, perfumed, alluring, elegant. He continued, yes, the planting instructions say, good in a bed, but better up against a wall. But yes, ladies, all our lads are different, as another of Burns' short poems illustrates very clearly. 12 bonny lads were Sandy and Jockey. Jockey was lord, but Sandy unlucky. Jockey was laird both o' hills and o' valleys, but Sandy was not, but king o' good fellows. Jockey Lord Madgie, for Madgie had money, and Sandy Lord Mary, for Mary was bonny. Een wedded for love, een wedded for treasure, so Jockey had siller, and Sandy had pleasure. So ladies, God knows we've our faults, though minor and trivial, which put a strain on relations convivial. We salute their good nature, their patience and loyalty, and just for tonight, we'll toast them like royalty. Lassies, please be upstanding and raise your glasses to the laddies. The laddies. The laddies.
Thank you, Estelle. It's a shorter distance to the door from your point of view. Colin, start running, I'm telling you.
I know.
It's not a choice, you know. It's,
Another table and beer.
no. I'd say, yeah, you're going to need to clean this room quicker than that couple's son at the back there if you want to get out of here alive, I can tell
I
you.
was put at the front.
That's what it comes down to. I don't know whether this is okay. Do you need a 5-minute comfort break or not? I'm just asking you before we've got time if you want to do it. I know it's a 5-minute comfort break. You want to carry straight on? Let's go straight through with it then.